Another beautiful morning is here. Welcome on Beyond the Headlines. My name is Benjamin Akatmo. Now, we're going to be delving into some very important matters, crucial matters of state, from John Mahama's tour across the country and some of the comments he passed on Akina FM to the Ejra probe and some of the snippets we've got from what that report should entail. We know sometime next week we should be getting the full details. We also are going to be talking about sub-regional, scenes. I'm talking about what has transpired in Guinea and what lessons, if any, we have learned from them, among other matters. The president's executive salary increment return is also on our radar. So all of that coming up. I'll be introducing one of my guests to you shortly. But right before that, how about you be a part of Africa's Dialogue for Growth and Sustainable Development? On the 25th of September, that is exactly at noon, join the third quarter edition of the AIE Forum 2021 on the topic, Evaluating the Role and Involvement of African Youth in Africa's Move Towards Continental Trade and Integration. You can register at www.aieforum.org, www.aieforum.org. So who are those going to be featuring? The event is going to be moderated by my own friend, Mr. Emmanuel K. Bensa Jr., Deputy Executive Director of the APN. There's also those keynote speakers, Peter Kwesi Koji, General Secretary of the All Africa Students Union. Other speakers include Andy Okra, President, Young Professionals and Youth Coalition, Nanekua Champoma Echiahene Harriet, Deputy Head, Africa's Young Entrepreneurs Ghana, Alpha Saizi, who is International Business Management Institute, with that institute in Kenya, and Seydou Baba, Director of African Studies, Youth Up Global. Finally, the Britain CEO, that is George Mensah. All of them are going to be featuring at the Africa Youth Summit, this forum. So don't you miss out on the 25th day of September. Time now to dig into the hard matters on Beyond the Headlines. We have joining the conversation Jamaluddin Abdallah. He is Special Assistant to the Minister for Youth and Sports. He will be speaking, from one end of the political divide, let's say the MPP end. Now, we're expecting a representative of the NDC, and I'm making it known so that you don't feel we are being biased here. Onassis Kobi would be with us shortly, God willing. But on that note, let me say a very good morning to you, Mr. Abdallah.
Oh, good morning, and good morning to your cherished viewers.
Great. And
good morning to fellow Ghanaians.
It's a bit of a nippy morning. I hope you're feeling well enough for us to dig full scale into those matters of concern.
Yes, by His grace, I would say I'm looking good.
Okay, you just have to speak up a little for me. Let's start with the tour of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We've seen the former President John Mahama on his tour. Now we have the President himself also on a tour, and the OT region is featuring. What can you tell us about that tour?
Well, the President, I think, undertake an annual tour to be abreast with issues on the grounds and get to interact with people within the vicinities he tours. And he is happened to start this week with touring the Western North and Western region. And today he begins his tour to the OT region, where he will end at the Volta region at the end of the week. Well, he's done a lot, and there's a need to bring the government down to the level of the people, and that is what it's doing, communicating to them that this is the opportunities I've created. Talking of the planting for food and jobs, talking of the talking of the free SHS, talking of the Agenda 111 and other infrastructure developments and policies the government has implemented. You need to communicate that to the people, and there's the need to also go to the grounds and see the work of what the ministers updates you on. So I believe it's in the good direction. He is not the first president to embark on such a tour. And every president has been doing that, so it's not surprising. And I know the people have seen and felt whatever he's doing. And as the tours over the years has been successful, I know this one he's beginning today at OT and will end in Volta region over the weekend would equally be successful.
Okay. Would you feel that the fact that former President John Dramani Mahama is touring has also, gingered Mr. President to also go on a tour?
I'll disagree with you, because as I indicated...
No, I'm not making that as a statement. I'm asking that as a question.
Well, in that case, then I would say it is not true, or it is not fact. It's not factual. The president has been doing this every year, as I indicated in my earlier submission. It's been an annual event. But when you come to the opposition, whenever the opposition is touring, it means there's something at stake. What is at stake? If Mahama is starting, it's obvious Mahama is kickstarting his campaign towards 2024 elections. And everything, his utterances, his actions and activities clearly indicates that he surely wants to contest again. I am surprised because when you look at his colleagues in neighboring countries who have equally had the opportunity to serve as presidents and couldn't have an opportunity to continue with the second term, they've sat back and contributing towards development of their various countries as statesmen. But I sometimes ask, is he the only eligible person in the NDC to contest?
Okay, so let's play this game. You would look across the sub-region, and those who have stepped aside, if it's not through a coup d'etat, for example, which we'll be talking about, you would usually realize that they have served their full terms, maybe they wanted additional terms, and that is what they didn't get. But in the case of Mahama, he is painting the picture that he's had one term and that, in fact, per his own words, he has unfinished business. Don't you think the dynamic with him is different?
Unfinished business. If he says so, we should ask him, what did he do extraordinary that gives him the opportunity to deserve or demand for another term? Well, in this country, you and I witnessed what transpired under his regime, where over 4 years we struggled to get a stable electricity supply, where utility tariffs were higher than, how do you call it, utility tariffs were higher than rent charges, where everything was in a mess. Then you come asking for a different opportunity. To do what? It sends me back to the question I asked. Is he the only eligible person within the NDC to contest as a president?
Well, we've seen the likes of Dr. Kwabena Dufour at least show some, even if infinitesimal, signal that he might be interested in contesting. And the NDC's slot, just like with the MPPs, has always been contended by, quite a plethora of a large group of people. So I don't think that wouldn't be a problem if it comes to competition.
Unlike the MPP, where everybody is given the opportunity to contest. In the NDC, they seem to have their own way in bullying people in line. How so? Please explain. It has been clear that the executives of the current executives of the NDC over the years have proven to toe in a certain direction. Whoever comes to contest candidates they prefer would be sabotaged and subjected to certain rough tactics, which we've seen over the years.
But to be fair, is that something we've not seen in the MPP? And there's a list of people.
It's been opened in 2007.
But you do consent. We've seen same in the MPP.
In 2007, how many people contested in the MPP presidential
Quite
primaries?
a number.
Thank you. Have that opportunity ever popped up in the NDC?
That is same for the
there
NDC.
Are lots of eligible people within the NDC who have been prevented from contesting through those tactics. Recently, Stephen Atubiga, who wanted to contest, today is in a different party because of the rough tactics he's been subjected to. And he goes around telling people that the NDC is not a democratic party as they claim to be. When you take, after 2007, in 2010, 11, same thing happened. people contested the MPP presidential candidate, where he emerged victorious. In 2014, if I'm right, or 14, even when it became obvious that he is the one who is more marketable and has the opportunity to win power for the MPP, he was still subjected to a fair contest, where they had to go for an extraordinary conference to reduce the numbers to 5.
Okay, so
before
the point is made. You feel
the flag bearer.
the NDC's contest for a candidate is not as competitive as the MPP's. But let me ask you this. Does the MPP, I mean, looking at some of the comments that have emerged from your party's leadership, the General Secretary, the Chairman, among others, and we'll get to do or die, but I want us to hasten slowly. Would you say that your party feels threatened by a John Mahama candidacy or slot come 2024? I mean, your party's leadership has said that you are not afraid of him, but some are also suggesting you're only beating these drums because you actually are afraid.
The MPP has done implemented a lot of policies and programs which you and I are beneficiary of. The MPP hasn't manufactured any book and placed in artistic impressions to create an image of things they have not done. People are feeling what
you're referring to the Green Book.
Thank you. People have felt and seen what the MPP has done. Compared to the Green Book, which you and I knew were all done in a book. What extraordinary features is this candidate bringing on board? We are not scared. This is a candidate who has been tried and tested. It's different from bringing a new candidate who has never been on the seat of government. Mahama has led this country for over 4 years. He continued from his predecessor, the late Mills, and he also had his turn. What did he do that you think would threaten the MPP that has put in sword on the ground?
Okay, so basically, if I'm just to summarize what you're saying, I would ask you this. Would the MPP prefer to go against John Dramani Mahama over, let's say, a Dr. Kwabena Dufour? Do you feel Dufour would be a stiffer challenge than Mahama?
The NDC can even decide to assemble all the eligible candidates within the party and put all of them on the ballot.
Well, you know that's not possible.
If they have the opportunity to. Because even under the NDC, under the Mahama administration, he told us that he was in his first gear. And when he gets the opportunity to get to the 4th gear, we will see how government is, the country will be governed. And we saw it. Even within the 4th gear, we were still struggling with little things that the country needed. You sleep and the next day, dollar is on the rise.
So let's come back. So according to Jamaluddin Abdallah, even if the NDC assembled all its bigwigs on the party's ticket, they would still lose in 2024.
Yes, it's quite obvious.
That's what you're saying.
It's quite obvious. Are you going to go back to the leadership of an incompetent person who has demonstrated his inability to govern this country to the satisfaction of everybody?
Okay, let's talk do or die. Do or die. Now, on Akina FM in the Bono region, President Mahama said quite a lot about the tactics used by the current president, which he felt were willy-nilly, taking the acquisition of the presidency as a life and death affair. These are Mahama's words, not mine. And that they sort of kept their eyes, there were things that were overlooked at the polling stations, and that it culminated in their defeat. But that come 2024, they are going to be extra vigilant, and that is going to be a do or die affair. Now, do or die has been taken from the linguistic standpoint idiomatically, and it has its own meaning, going full throttle to the very, end to achieve a purpose. And of course, there's also the end where it could mean even to the point of losing one's life. There are different dynamics to it. Former President Mahama has said I used it purely as an idiomatic expression, not to refer to any shedding of blood or anything of the sort. Some people have called him out and said, send your children there on election day to do or die. What is your take on that matter?
Well, before we started this program, you told me off camera that it should be clean. It shouldn't be a do or die affair in this studio.
Well, not my words, not the do. I didn't use those words. I just said we should keep it clean. But you said it should be clean,
which can be equated to the do or die. That I and the NDC representative who would be coming here shouldn't make the studio seem to be like a do or die encounter here. We should keep it clean. Precedents, or should I say utterances, previous utterances of the former president has proven and clearly, how do you call it, clearly exposed his greed and desperation to come back to power.
His greed and desperation to come to power.
Yeah.
These utterances.
Yes, okay. These utterances. And I said previous utterances. In 2020, during his campaign tour in the Volta region, he asked or commanded the youth to meet the MPP booth for booth. And we all saw what transpired. People were being charged, were being incited to fight everything and everybody. And the daughter or son of Antimuni, the son of Ajua Mansa, are being asked to go to the extent of losing their lives just to have somebody who has been an assemblyman, who has been an MP, who has been a deputy minister, who has been a minister, a vice president and president, and currently a former president, to return to become a president. Should politics be this way? Sacrificing the lives of innocent Ghanaians for you to come back to power. When John Mahama was in power, he told Ghanaians that 8 years wasn't enough for every government to implement whatever he or she wants to implement. What has changed? What is he coming to do within these 4 years that cannot be done by any other person? That lives have to be lost. Look, this kind of statements must be condemned with all uncertainty, irrespective of our political affiliations. I wouldn't sit here just to come and throw dust into the eyes of people because I want my party to remain in power. At least my conscience will serve me right. Your sons and daughters are in Dubai enjoying, even when they are in Ghana, under security vigilance 24/7.
That's to be expected of a former president,
yes,
right?
That is privilege you enjoy.
That is given to
the privilege
family,
every
the Kufuor
former
family.
President. I'm not saying he's the only one. But why should you incite people as a former president? What is in the presidency that you can't set as a former president and advise people? He's supposed to live as a statesman. Kufuor is there. Kufuor could have equally gone to parliament and asked for a constitutional review.
But Kufuor served 2 terms.
He served his 2 terms. And asked for a constitutional review to extend the tenure of the presidency because he feels what he wanted to do here wasn't the time, or the tenure wasn't enough to implement those dreams or ambitions of his. But you see, you should learn to leave the arena when the applause are high.
Good point there, and a fitting point to continue the conversation. Now, how different do you think do or die is from all die, be die? Do or die, all die, be die. This has come into sharp focus. Imani Africa's Franklin Kujo has said there's practically no difference, that both of them mean exactly the same thing. Now put that into the context of boot for boot and boot for Chalewote, and put that into the context of the fact that in 2020 we had about some 8 people getting shot and killed for the first time in our elections. What does this bode getting into 2024?
That statement is not factual.
What is not factual?
That 8 people died, losing their lives. Well, we
all know the figures. Shot.
It's not factual.
Some of them died, losing their lives.
It's not factual.
We can talk about Techiman. We can talk about other portions of the country.
We can talk about Techiman. You see, I was telling a friend some time ago. When you look at the incidents of Techiman, the video was clear. When the presiding officer was trying to declare, the NDC candidate fought him.
Jamaluddin, I don't think we should belabor the point in terms of the dynamics.
No,
we all know the dynamics. The point is where people shot,
and
did some of them die? That is the focal point, not so much about the numbers.
I'm making a statement, and he went on this media house to incite people to besiege the coalition center. Yes, accidents do happen. I know everything is under investigation, and at the right time, the findings will be made public. But aside from that, in 2000 elections, or in elections that have been conducted in this country, lives have been lost. In 2000, 30 or more lives were lost.
In 2000?
Yes, in 2000.
30 lives that were recorded to have been lost? In 2000?
Yes, you can go back and refer to the archives.
What is the source of your information, if I may ask?
Well, as I'm saying, when you go...
Can you give us the source of the information?
The news will be able to give you those things. Go back to the archive.
No, but you
as
are...
a journalist,
we
should be able to do some digging
Abdallah,
to bring out. I'm telling you that I've gone through...
Do not suggest... Hold on, Abdallah. Do not suggest that maybe we come and sit here and do not thoroughly investigate before we come here. Some of the things you're mentioning, I'm only quizzing you on them because you are mentioning them. I happen not to have come across that statistic. So it is only fair that you point me to where exactly this information is, and our viewers as well, so they can easily... I mean, now we all have Google. So what is the source of your
Within
information?
the Fourth Republic, several elections have been conducted. A couple of lives have been lost. I'm not saying because it's become a ritual within every election year, it should continue. It is sad, and my condolences to all the bereaved family. It's something we must learn to improve upon. Elections is not a do or die affair. It's not an opportunity for the daughter or son of the layman, of the ordinary man on the street, to take arms and fight someone. It's not an opportunity for my uncle who is in the northern region, or my friend's senior brother who is in the Volta region, to lose his or her life. Lives are valuable. Elections are opportunity for me, you and I to demonstrate our constitutional mandate by electing people we feel are eligible to lead this country. And it is done by the thumb and not by any weapon.
I'll tell you this for a fact. For someone who, as young as I am, seen war twice in my life in different countries, I would say that it's something that we definitely don't want to see. The spilling of blood, any electoral violence, it's a place we never want to get to. And I always tell the youth that don't follow any political party into any senseless thing that will mar your life, maim you, maybe result in anything chaotic. But I still go back to the point. How different is do or die from all die be die? Franklin Kujo says he doesn't see any difference. Do you see a difference? Very quickly on that. Do you see a difference?
The difference, you must look at the people that made those utterances. Yes, the all die be die has been condemned by all people from all sectors. I am doing my project work on election violence, and I'm taking 2020 into consideration as a case study. And I've seen a couple of utterances which scholars have mentioned, the likes of Professor Jampo, the likes of Elikem, Edem Ashibi, and co. have all in their publication, academic publication, made mention of certain utterances that they believe had incited people to go wayward in this manner. The people that made those utterances, the one that made the all die be die, whom has apologized, that if he had that opportunity, if he knew it was going to be misinterpreted in that manner, he wouldn't have made an apology to Ghanaians, where you and I followed, was not a former president. The moment you become a former president, where the country pays you to live as a statesman, where the country pays you to become a counselor, an advisor you must live up to expectation. You do not join, excuse my language, certain people to make, excuse my language, beer bar talks. You do not join people like me to make certain utterances because your caliber, pedigree is far, far above those that usually make those statements. And you see, the words of a former president cannot just be taken on a soft spot. It carries a lot of weight. He has a lot of followers. And you and I can foresee the implication of that statement if care is not taken. He must come out to apologize. And you see, funny enough, yes, last night I saw another video where another distasteful statement was made. You know, talking about, excuse my language, you know, certain disgusting things that say in feces, and you know, those words are not befitting of a former president. And you shouldn't clearly, you know, expose your greed or your desperation to become a president again. It clearly shows that there's something in there that you felt you were benefiting, that you living as a former president, you are not getting such opportunity. He should tell us. Probably something he's left at the presidential villa. I know you willingly joined him to bring it, to get it to him.
Why would you think that I would want to get it to him?
But we are Ghanaians. If that is what is making him incite people to lose their life, he should willingly tell us. We would walk and go and bring it up and give it to him. So if one life have to be sacrificed to get somebody into power, we are youth. We need to say a big no to that, irrespective of where the person is coming from.
Point well made. Now let's talk about this refund, and we'll be joined shortly by Onassis Kobi, albeit very late, and see how much we can squeeze into this conversation from the NDC's end. But the salary increment and the president's refund, some 238,000 Ghana cedis. During the May Day celebrations, he made it clear that the executive is going to try to tighten its belt a bit, squeeze in, and he's noted that, you know, per August this year, from the January to August salary, the deductions have in fact been made, totaling the sum that I was making mention of. He's given directives to the Chief of Staff that Mr. Vice President, ministers, deputy ministers, those in the executive should follow suit. Positive move?
That is leadership. We are not in ordinary times. You and I have seen the devastating effect of COVID-19 that has affected all sectors in every country in this globe. As a president, you must live up to expectation. He made a call, or he disclosed his intention on the Labor Day, and he's gone an extra mile to prove beyond the worst. Well, the former president is equally enjoying the same increment. Former president, you have the opportunity to also live to expectation and do what is needful, because you and I will agree that we are not in ordinary times. COVID-19 has affected all sectors of the economy. Try to return the funds, which including your aides, the likes of Felix and Joyce Bauer, please, as the president have done.
Please be specific. What funds are you referring to?
No, but they receive monthly salaries.
Okay, so you're speaking of the former president and
yes, and his aides and his driver.
So be specific.
And
you mean the benefits he gets?
Yes, including his wife.
Okay. Including
his wife. The president has done so. If you can equally do so, well, Ghanaians will applaud you. Okay. But nevertheless, the do or die statement is distasteful, and it shouldn't be coming from you as a former president.
Jamaluddin, thank you.
Has gone up, who has climbed all the hierarchy of government or politics in this country.
Sorry I had to interject, but for the sake of time and bringing in Onassis Kobi, we shall take a bit of a breather right here, and we'll be right back on Beyond the Headlines.
Take a step and walk down this road with us. We promise to offer the ultimate experience in television right here on Joy Point.
The morning will be filled with inspiration, education, and and entertainment. Just because you are Prime.
It's the biggest breakfast on television. Prime Morning, every weekday morning.
It only gets better as we stir you up with the best of drama and telenovela.
It's the spirit in the game.
You can count on us for the ultimate sporting content and in-depth analysis.
The competition coupled with great entertainment.
There's a show and the business that makes all the difference.
Allow us to escort you into the world of the arts, the performers, their crafts, and their lives.
If it is entertainment, it's right here on Joy Prime.
Joy Prime, the ultimate experience.
Welcome back on Beyond the Headlines, and today's prodigal son on the show, Onassis Kobe, has finally showed up. Deputy Youth Organizer of the NDC in the Ashanti region. Onassis, good morning to you.
Good morning, bro.
Okay, so we've had quite a lengthy conversation on do or die and all die be die. I'm giving you 1 minute to summarize your thoughts. Franklin Kujo says do or die, all die be die are the same thing. Your candidate in the 2020 election says do or die is an idiomatic expression. A lot of Ghanaians have been bashing the former president, saying, no, it is not what we expect from a former president. Jamaluddin Abdallah has been saying same. In 1 minute, what are your quick thoughts on that?
I mean, you must as well reduce me to a spectator. I mean, you may want me to speak. Have a bite. I would want to even...
No, on that we've gone past it, so I just want you to have
the reason why it's quite critical to me because, I mean, and forgive me for being late, that is not, part of me. I'm saying that because, I'm from the Ashanti region, and we know most of these political, noises and the high tension that characterize our politics, elections in particular, do take place in the Ashanti region. So I have a lot of interest in it. Look, bro, all those coming out now who have all of a sudden found their voice, I think they are the cause of where we are now.
Was Mahama right in saying do or die or not? You criticized all die. Hold on. You criticized all die be die before Akufo-Addo became president of this country. He apologized for that. Now Mahama is saying do or die. Is it right?
The two are not the same. And
what's the difference?
The difference is that at the time Akufo-Addo made mention of or die be die, we had never witnessed electoral violence in terms of general election.
Who says that? We've experienced pockets of violence across our elections.
Those ones comes with policies, especially elections, issues of, some slaps, some shouting, some exchange of words, they do happen. But to the extent that we see an order, a deliberate state orchestrated violence, murdering of people, killing innocent Kenyans.
What are you suggesting in the past election?
No, it's past, it never happened. And I listened to you quiz my brother on that and the way he was dangling around the issue. It has never happened. Have you ever witnessed it? Yes, you may hear of someone being slapped and others. We see that those all the time in the Ashanti region. But to the extent that military men are ordered to shoot, to kill, to the extent that we've lost 8 lives.
Let's get to the point.
The two can never be the same.
Do or die, is it right?
I would have wished President Mahama had gone even further. Look, trust me.
You would have wished he had gone further?
I would have wished. Because, see, look, this we all know is a idiomatic expression. It's a court duty to be vigilant.
Yes, but you must put it into context. And it is not palatable. I dare you that if the sitting president, after all die be die, had gone to say do or die, your party would have been up in arms by now.
Because
is that not true?
Because he has the traces of violence.
Because who?
Because the president now, Akufo-Addo, has traces of violence.
Where is your proof?
It happened in Ebuakwa, where he was an MP. Between here and Oroku Mufa, it happened. We've had a situation.
These are not scuffles that we've not seen in the NDC. We've seen that and more in the NDC.
To the extent that people were maimed, to the extent that political party office was banned. That's what we've seen over the years. This is a man who came out to own up to a mercenary group. Akufo-Addo in 2009 was going about and threatening that he is going to release his mercenaries on their side. Those were the words that we heard from him. President Mahama has no single traces of violence.
Okay.
And this is it. Come 2024, we are not going to behave as we did in 2020. Because we were of the view that it was going to be free.
What is going to change? Very briefly.
What is going to change is that we are going to be more vigilant. What is going to change is that we're going to settle every single dispute at the police station. What is going to change is that we're going to resist any attempt by the state.
Point well made. Now, it also means that you're sticking by what the former president is saying, that he will not apologize.
There's no need to. What is there to apologize
Thank
for?
you.
When
let's move the conversation.
Some of us would want even to be encouraged and motivated enough, because 2024, my brother, because see, we have no trust. Some of us have no trust in moral society. We have no trust in the civil society. They had all gone moved. They are all moved.
Thank you.
Right after killing of Ghanaians, nobody is called the president to account for them. The president goes about just as if nothing has happened.
Onassis, thank you.
That will never happen again.
Thank you on that. My concluding comments would be that, well, Akufo-Addo apologized and won the presidency. Time will tell whether maybe ahead of 2024.
Has done no wrong.
Whether John Dramani Mahama
we will stay with him.
Would apologize for the do-or-die comments.
The right thing is done.
Onassis.
The Supreme Court can never give us justice. The moral society can never be seen to be sycophantic.
I would ask you to watch your words, though, and also not lose sight of the fact that I am moderator here. So please, hold on.
I'm so much emotionally attached to this topic.
Right, you can be emotional, but
lives have been lost. The president is going about as if nothing has happened. We've never seen
let's move beyond that to another instance. You are not getting back on that matter. You've had ample time to speak on that matter. I only allowed him to chip in because he's now coming in.
The whole thing is that what happened has never happened. It should never happen.
If you don't allow me to moderate this, we'll have to end it. Is that?
Let's go. I mean, I know you won't punish me for being.
No, but you see,
thank you. Please hold on. We have to move. We have to move forward.
He can be emotional because I understand.
He wouldn't have the opportunity.
We know what you're planning.
You see,
we know what you're planning.
Onassis is in a V8 or V6. He wouldn't go to the grounds to join the sons and daughters of Antimuni on the grounds to pick arms to fight people. But what I'm saying, as a youth, young people, we need to tell our leaders that, look, this country will not bend to have you as leaders.
Point well made. Let's get to the EJRA report. The EJRA probe. We saw what happened there, Kakamacho, and then the incidents that took place, the youth threatening the hospital involved, police officials sent there, the military followed up, and it led to, all the skirmishes that we've seen, deaths and, people getting assaulted and all of that. We've got some snippets of the report suggesting that some things could happen as far as the EJRA MCA is concerned, about the police DSP, Mr. Hammond, about military sanctions against the officer who led the officers on the ground, the upgrade of security infrastructure, and more. Jamaluddin, do you feel, we've not seen the report per se. Hopefully next week we shall get into the details. But do you feel some of these should suffice, especially on the back of what we saw in Ayawaso West Wuogon and the Emil Short Commission's report, which was basically whitewashed with a white paper, and we've not seen much after that? People like Double and others, it took what happened to the City FM journalist Caleb Kuda before even DSP Azugu, was moved and all of that. So do you feel some of these measures would suffice? What are you looking forward to, just with the same passion that you speak of, that the youth should watch it? What do you feel these would be enough to curb similar violent events in our country? First
of all, Commission of Inquiry or committees have been set up within the Fourth Republic. Several of them have been set up, and white papers have equally popped up.
Right.
this is not the first time, or the Immigration Commission is not the first time a government has issued a white paper on the committee report. I've heard the information minister who has indicated by next week the report on IDRA will be made public. And you see, it sends us back to the utterances being made by certain people who have a bigger platform.
We have limited time. I want us to focus
yes, I'm
on
making my
IDRA.
point.
I don't want us to skirt around the issues too much. We have limited time, very limited time.
Clearly demonstrates the impact or effect on inciting people negatively. So when we tell you that, look, the former president should act as a statesman and stop inciting the children of laymen to take arms and lose their life, we are not trying to condemn him.
In the IDRA situation,
people were incited.
Hold on.
People were wrongly incited to hit the streets and lives were lost.
Incited by whom?
Incited by people
who
have the platform. Yes, we all saw the release those people who call themselves Fix the Country made without investigation, without any facts, made publication, made calls that were forced to incite people, and it became a political situation.
So it wasn't a spontaneous situation of IDRA youth, and mind you, we've had similar incidents in IDRA. This wouldn't be the first.
The report
but you do realize this is not the first time in IDRA we are seeing something of this sort. You do know that
IDRA has been said to be a hotspot. There's been series or pockets of violence in IDRA which have been recorded over the years. But in this situation, it isn't a political situation. People went behind the scene to incite people. People had platform, media platform, and used that to make certain wrong pronouncements. Inciting the people I'm talking about here, that John Mahama is inciting.
Your wrap-up comments on this, I want you to focus on this. Looking at some of the things I've spoken of, we know the security situation in IDRA is porous. They're saying we should beef up security. DSP Hammond should go, the IDRA MCE, per what we've heard. It's not concrete, and we may see something slightly different in the report of that committee. The creation of social or community centers under the Zongo Development Fund and all of that. If these pop up in the actual report, would your government, would you think that you would be willing to pursue this to ensure that we don't see similar incidents in IDRA? Let's just be brief on that, very brief.
The government has demonstrated enough to improving security in this country. You could, when you go around, you could see even the technology cameras which are being put at strategic points just to improve security. Whatever the report says, if it's in good faith, who wouldn't implement it? It's for the betterment. It's for the betterment of all of us.
Very quickly on this, do you feel if these pop up in the actual report, do you feel they would suffice to curb similar incidents in IDRA?
I wouldn't be surprised that in the end they will be even giving all the clearance. I wouldn't be surprised.
When you say clearance, what do you mean?
I mean, the president wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if the president decided to shield the MC or the police commander. Look, this is not the first time.
And what if Mr. President actually sets him aside? Would you be satisfied then?
I mean, the last time we were here, we discussed this issue. It's almost 2 weeks or now, 3 weeks now, and still no action has been taken. The thing is, IDRA, a lot of things have happened, as he alluded to. A whole MP was made by these tax of the MC. Yes, I mean, in the run-up to the 2020 elections, it was reported nothing got done.
It was reported that a community was
nothing got done.
There was an incident in the community, but you don't associate that incident to the MP.
I tried to prevent him from heckling you, so don't heckle him.
When the issue of IDRA came up, he was on social media. He refuted the fact that it had something to do with Fix the Country, and for him it was internal MPP.
So the question is, will you be satisfied with some of
he is saying there's nothing political about what happened in IDRA. When you yourself alluded to the fact that the guy was against the MC being reappointed, and the fact that he had gone, and they said there's nothing political about it. Same person. If
Mr. President implements these, would you be satisfied?
What? I mean, nothing has come out yet, and it will even be limited.
No, but there are snippets, sneak peeks, and I'm giving you those sneak peeks. Would you be satisfied?
So let's wait for it to come out, and it shouldn't just end there. Would it just be dismissing the MCE or not reappointing him? Someone should be prosecuted for that. Someone should be punished heavily for that. If it's just about firing or reassigning someone from his or her duty, then what is there to compensate for the loss of lives that we have here? And for me, look, this thing is going to continue time and time again. We've seen the abuse, the kind of killing that is happening. My brother, the one thing is that what is happening here?
If it keeps on, we keep on inciting the youth.
What is happening here? Less than happen in Guinea. And we should be very, 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 very careful. This kind of suppression that has happened in this country, I think it should be allowed. If you're in government now, it should be allowed.
And that is where we're going to wrap this conversation. I am very grateful, gentlemen, that you joined the conversation. Onassis Kobe, the next time, please come here on time. You criticize others when they come late, and I'll be doing the same to you. But thank you all the same for showing up.
Having a closing comment.
Onassis,
we need to advise our people.
Onassis Kobe, and unfortunately we've run out of time.
They're all just rhetoric.
Onassis.
We know what you've planned.
We want a better country. Your former president cannot incite us to bend this.
Your microphones are actually off.
Cannot incite us to
okay.
You are not cowards.
This is how we wrap the conversation on Beyond the Headlines. Onassis Kobe, gentlemen, I advised against this. Please be decorous. Please be decorous. Onassis, and Jamaldeen, please.
We've been having lunch.
We're going to mobilize the youth.
Onassis Kobe is Deputy Youth Organizer for the NDC in the Ashanti region. Jamaluddin Abdallah is Advisor to the Minister for Youth and Sports. They started so well, ending with a bit of a ramble there, but MPP, NDC, well, we thank you, gentlemen, for joining the conversation. And for those of you who did the watching, thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't read any WhatsApp messages today. We'll be right back with more. Do stay.